We're outside American Picker star Mike Wolfe's store, Antique Archaeology, and just steps away from his vacation rental, Tulane's Guest House in LeClaire, Iowa. The U.S. Sun has obtained first photos of Mike.
American Pickers made him rich and famous, but his life hasn't been all treasures. His longtime friend died after a bitter feud, and he got the blame. Then his flagship store mysteriously closed, and now the FBI is looking into the business. From fake finds to angry neighbors, the truth about Mike Wolfe is finally coming out, and it's nothing like what you see on TV. Is the show even real? What else has been hidden from fans? Join us as we unravel the reality of Mike Wolfe's life that left the world shocked. The shocking discovery.
No way! You got it going? Oh my God, dude!
When American Pickers completed the 27th season in June, History Channel fans expected the crew to spend their 6-month break doing anything but digging through dusty barns. Yet one wild claim on social media insisted star Mike Wolfe was going to spend his hiatus behind bars for murder. Within hours, hashtags like Free Mike Wolfe trended, and worried viewers asked how the bearded antique hunter could post selfies from the road if he was locked up. Mike Wolfe was no stranger to discovering buried treasures, rusted relics in barns, hidden gems in old garages, and forgotten antiques tucked away in dusty attics. For years, he had made a name for himself, chasing the past, turning forgotten Americana into stories and sales. But, as the social media claim went this time, the treasure wasn't waiting for him out on the road or locked away in a stranger's shed. On one otherwise ordinary morning, Mike's mansion was visited by agents of the federal government. The FBI, acting on an anonymous tip tied to an ongoing investigation, arrived with a warrant in hand. Their approach was professional as they moved through the home with measured precision, inspecting each room and corridor as if they had reason to believe that secrets lay beneath the surface. The rumors claim the agents cataloged several items, including pre-Columbian figurines, Civil War weapons such as revolvers, sabers, and rusting bayonets, and rare manuscripts. Some manuscripts were written in unfamiliar languages that FBI historians and linguists struggled to identify. Others contained faded writing or unusual diagrams that appeared to be codes. But the biggest shocker of all was definitely when fingers pointed to Mike in connection with his friend's death. And according to social media reporters, that was the main reason the FBI stormed his place. But here's the truth about this claim. Mike Wolfe has no hand in Frank Fritz's death. In fact, no one does. The convicted killer in question is Michael Wolfe, a completely different man who unalived his family in Oregon back in 2019. But in March 2025, a viral post on X confused the two, claiming American Pickers Mike Wolfe had been arrested. The rumor spread like wildfire, showing just how quickly misinformation and identity confusion can distort reality. It turns out, the only thing Mike Wolfe is guilty of is having a common name and a few speeding tickets from the 80s. By the time fact-checkers weighed in, thousands believed History Channel's most dedicated picker had traded flea markets for a cell block. For anyone wondering why it's even possible for such confusion to happen to someone as famous as Mike, it's not really surprising. Even Hollywood's reputed nicest guy couldn't dodge false drama. In 2007, paparazzo Alison Silva sued Keanu Reeves for more than $700,000, claiming Reeves rammed him with a Porsche and shattered his wrist. 18 months later, a jury saw the real evidence. Silva had tripped over his own feet, and the wrist injury dated back to youth soccer in Brazil. By then, Reeves had spent over a year labeled a reckless star who ran down photographers. For Mike Wolfe, the misunderstanding was even simpler. Same spelling, different life. While Michael Wolfe awaits parole hearings in Oregon, the American Pickers host is filming guest spots for the indie movie Day of Reckoning, scouting roadside junkyards and posting motorcycle photos on Instagram. His worst rap sheet is a couple of speeding tickets from the 1980s. Mike will spend the next 6 months exactly where fans expect: inside barns, garages, and maybe the occasional flea market diner, not a jail cell. Even though Mike's been cleared, one would wonder why he was suspected in the first place. The bitter feud between Mike and Frank. Mike and Frank, who first met in middle school, had both grown up without fathers, and the struggles they faced while moving through life brought them closer. According to Mike, Frank was an extremely hard worker. He was like no one he'd ever met in his whole life. Mike recalled that when he had the initial idea to pitch American Pickers, a reality show spanning over 15 seasons, Fritz was the only person that didn't make fun of him. Despite the naysayers in their small town in Iowa, Frank believed they were on the precipice of something great. In 2010, Season 1 debuted on History Channel, and their lives changed forever. But fame and success brought unexpected challenges. In a 2021 interview with The Sun, Frank revealed he had sought treatment for alcohol abuse ahead of his departure from American Pickers. He also claimed that he hadn't spoken to Wolfe in 2 years, and admitted that he felt that he took second place, while Wolfe was considered number 1 in the eyes of the show. Frank eventually left American Pickers in 2020, 10 years after the show's premiere. Shortly before he left the show, he and Wolfe had a falling out in 2019. Their feud came amid Frank's health issues, including a back injury. In his words, "I haven't talked to Mike in 2 years. He knew my back was messed up, but he didn't call me up and ask how I was doing. That's just how it is." That July, Mike posted on Instagram about his longtime co-star's exit from American Pickers. In his post, he said, "I will miss Frank, just like all of you, and I pray for the very best and all good things for him on the next part of his journey." According to Newsweek, Fritz fired back, "Somebody wrote it out for him. I don't believe in 10 years he said 5 nice things to me, you know? Unless he was cutting somebody else down, and we were both laughing." Mike told the U.S. Sun in August 2021 that Frank's addiction issues were the root of their problems. "I would love to talk with him again. We would absolutely love to. But he just can't get it right," he admitted. Frank is just going through a lot personally with his addictions. It's unfortunate that he's made decisions that have made him the way he is. After Frank suffered a stroke in 2022, Mike publicly wished him well on Instagram and asked fans to pray for him. By 2023, the duo was said to have patched things up in their relationship. But nothing in Mike Wolfe's life would hit harder than what happened to Frank. The reunion that came too late. Mike Wolfe had one final chance to mend a fractured friendship with his longtime co-star and partner, Frank Fritz, while Frank was recovering from a stroke. For Mike, it was a bittersweet reunion, but the timing was cruel. Frank passed away not long after, leaving Mike to confront the loss of someone who had been at the heart of his career and his life. Frank's official cause of death was late sequela of cerebral infarction, better known as a stroke, according to his death certificate, which was obtained by TMZ. The stroke was caused by cerebral vascular disease. The coroner also noted that Fritz suffered from aortic stenosis and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which both played a role in his death. Aortic stenosis is a type of heart valve disease, according to Mayo Clinic, and COPD is an ongoing lung condition caused by damage to the lungs, per the medical website. When asked in an interview about his relationship with the late star, Mike held back tears as he explained things. According to him, His friend had been dealing with health issues for years before his death. In 2022, he suffered a stroke and was hospitalized. He was in hospice care at the time of his death. He was also open about Frank's Crohn's disease, which he dealt with for more than 30 years. Frank himself told The Sun in the 2021 interview, "There's no cure, it's like a dragon. Every day is a crap shoot. One day, I could have a double chimichanga with hot sauce pouring out of it and have no problem. Another day, I could have a piece of toast with some scrambled eggs and have a flare-up." Frank had another stroke and was found at his place, unresponsive. Many fans of American Pickers didn't even know their favorite cast member had already passed on. The news hit the entire fan base. For Mike, the impact was deeply personal. Beyond the cameras, the fame, and the fortune of American Pickers, he lost a friend, a collaborator, and someone who had helped build the empire he now leads. The tragedy left him shaken and reminded him that no level of success can shield anyone from heartbreak. Mike Wolfe lost a friend, but even aside that, he suffered a tragedy that left him half-broken. Personal tragedy. Mike and his longtime girlfriend, Letitia Klein, have been through a nightmare that no couple ever expects. What began as an ordinary evening drive in Columbia, Tennessee ended in twisted metal and trauma when the pair were involved in a serious car crash. While Mike escaped with minor injuries, Letitia was left hospitalized with multiple severe injuries. Now, from her hospital bed, she has shared an emotional update that has both broken and inspired the hearts of fans. The terrifying crash happened late at night. Mike and Letitia were driving a blue vintage car when disaster struck. The front end of the car was crushed beyond recognition, and Mike later posted a photo of the wreckage with the caption that it had been a rough night, but there was light at the end of the tunnel. By the grace of God, they were both safe. He thanked fans for their love and prayers, adding that Letitia remained hospitalized but was expected to make a full recovery. Letitia later shared her own update from the hospital, showing her swollen, bruised face and a neck brace as she lay surrounded by tubes and monitors. She wrote that she hoped to have surgery the following day. She explained that she had suffered a broken jaw in several places, broken ribs, a fractured sternum, a collapsed lung, and swelling on her spine. Her mouth would be wired shut, she said, but she was grateful that her brain was still intact, which was what mattered most. Throughout her hospital stay, Mike barely left Letitia's side. She shared a tender photo of him sleeping in a chair beside her hospital bed, still holding her hand as she recovered from the trauma. Letitia even revealed the exact spot on the shattered windshield where her jaw had struck, showing the violent force of the impact that caused the multiple fractures. Despite the pain, Letitia has been making remarkable progress. She later posted a photo of herself carefully walking down a hospital corridor with the help of her sister. She wrote that she had managed to get up and walk that day thanks to her sister's help. Although her face remained swollen and her body badly battered, her spirit remained strong. Mike and Letitia first sparked romance rumors in 2021 after Mike's divorce from his former wife, Jody. Although they have been together for several years, the couple has said they do not have immediate plans to marry or live together. Letitia lives in Cave City, Kentucky, where she runs her cafe, Ace Coffee, while Mike resides in Leiper's Fork, Tennessee. Despite the distance between them, their relationship has remained strong, and the accident has only highlighted their devotion to each other. Even while recovering in the hospital, Letitia continued working on city council matters from her bed, insisting that it would take more than a crash to stop her from caring about her community. Her resilience has inspired many fans, while Mike's constant presence at her side shows just how strong their bond truly is. Although the road to recovery will be long, their love has already proven to be unshakable. But what about the protagonist? Who really is Mike Wolfe? And how did he become the man Hollywood knows today? The man behind the cameras. Growing up as a poor kid in Bettendorf, Iowa, and later LeClaire, Mike Wolfe had his share of bullies. To avoid them on the way to and from school, he got into the habit of cutting through backyards and back alleys, where the only unpleasantness that awaited him was trash. After a while, the youngster started to find that some of this trash wasn't so unpleasant. In fact, it could be downright intriguing. According to Mike, his first major pick was a discarded bike that he found in a trash heap when he was 6. Then he thought to himself, if someone would throw out a bike, what else would they throw out? Even as a kid, Mike felt the need for speed, and as a young man, he parlayed that particular quality into a job as a bicycle messenger in Chicago for a short time. But his home state, not to mention his girlfriend at the time, called him home. He even explained that he interviewed with Bike and Hike in Davenport. He just told the owner that he loved bicycles, and just like that, he got a job building bicycles in the warehouse. Mike admitted that paying the bills was still a bit rough at this point, due to the fact that he couldn't stop blowing his paychecks on more bikes. This, however, ended up being a deceptively wise strategy when a local shop came up for sale. Of course, Mike wasn't just selling bikes during this time, he was also riding them. During the late 80s and into the 90s, he was a 5-time competitor in Register's annual Great Bicycle Ride across Iowa, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a grueling 6-day ride across the entire state, in which participants must complete a jaw-dropping 67 miles per day, 468 miles in total. Such was his prowess as a cyclist that he was able to bring home a trophy or two, finishing first in the Iowa State Time Trial Championships in 1998. While he still harbored a love for picking, he was at this point living his dream. Mike was eating, breathing, and sleeping bicycles, while having a great deal of personal and professional success in the process. But then fate intervened. Mike's life changed suddenly when a devastating fire destroyed one of his bike stores. Even worse, his insurance turned out to be more of a liability than a help. He told Bicycling that even though his bikes were still selling, it wasn't enough, adding that he could never recover financially. Even though the second shop was doing well, he could never get back what he lost. Then, cha-ching, eBay came along, and that changed his life forever. The rise of eBay meant that Mike suddenly had a way to make money off of his other lifelong love: picking. He ultimately closed his stores, bought a van, and in 2000 hit the road for the life of a picker. For about 5 years, Mike slowly built a living doing essentially the same thing he does now on American Pickers, driving all over the place, knocking on doors, talking to collectors, and scouring their collections for anything that he might find interesting. During this time, he would often shoot selfie videos chronicling his time on the road. He added that his friends and acquaintances would commonly mention that his life was so unusual it would make for a good TV show. So, the idea for American Pickers was born, with an unexpected inspiration: Anthony Bourdain. Mike said he envisioned American Pickers as being similar to Bourdain's travelogue-style culinary shows, but focused on collectibles instead of food. While Bourdain's shows served as a vehicle to shine light on different regions and cultures through the lens of food, Mike similarly hoped to explore Americana through the lens of junk. After 5 years of pitching this idea to any network that would listen, he finally found a receptive pair of ears in History Channel executive Mary Donahue. Once American Pickers and the rest of his endeavors were gaining steady momentum, Wolfe and his then-wife, Jody Faith, decided that the time was right to become parents. So, in 2012, they welcomed their daughter, Charlie. Unfortunately, the occasion was cause for apprehension as well as joy. Charlie was born with a cleft lip and palate, conditions which afflict millions of children worldwide. The condition can lead to lifelong speech, eating, and psychological problems if not treated early in life. Fortunately, Charlie received corrective surgery, which was performed promptly and successfully. Mike realized, though, that not all parents are fortunate enough to pay for an operation like that, which is why he sought out Operation Smile. Operation Smile is a global outreach organization with the goal of providing cleft lip and palate treatment for those unable to afford or access it. Thanks to his sponsorship, the organization's profile has since grown significantly. Wolfe has even worked to draw others into Operation Smile's orbit. In 2015, he collaborated with artist Isabel Bloom to create a series of sculptures entitled Charlie's Smile to benefit the organization. Wolfe's passion for restoring lost treasures isn't just limited to motorcycles and knickknacks. He also has a soft spot in his heart for old buildings. Speaking to CBS Sunday Morning in 2020, he shared that he has spent millions buying and restoring derelict buildings both in LeClaire and Columbia, Tennessee. As it turns out, his passion to save such pieces of history didn't simply sprout up once he had the means to actually fund restoration efforts. Way back in 2003, before American Pickers was even a gleam in his eye, he ran for a city council seat in LeClaire for the sole purpose of leading a revitalization effort in the small town. He later added, "Mike and his partners do pretty well for themselves with American Pickers." However, the show and his retail locations are far from his only source of income. And it's not just all of those savvy real estate investments and restorations that have yielded returns either. Did the show treat Frank unfairly? And can Mike alone keep American Pickers alive? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.